Get ready. The DE Talk podcast starts now. Insightful conversations and dialogue helping you put the human factor back in HR. If you're curious about what's next in talent acquisition and how authentic networks are transforming the way employers find great talent, this conversation is for you. We're diving into the future of talent acquisition, where community, connection, and cutting-edge tech collide. We're exploring how the hidden job market is shifting, why niche communities matter more than ever, and how AI is rewriting the rules of recruiting. And just as you'll learn, why posting with purpose matters.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the DE Talk podcast. I'm Shannon Offord, VP of Strategic Partnerships here at Direct Employers. Today, I'm super excited to have Summer Delaney, who is the founder and CEO of CollabWORK, join us. I had an opportunity to meet Summer several months back through a mutual contact of ours, and we have been working with Summer here at Direct Employers for the last several months, and it's been an awesome relationship. This conversation is really close to me. I actually started my career off in talent acquisition. I know at Direct Employers we do a lot of things around compliance, but today we decided to switch gears a little bit, and this should be a super fun conversation. So Summer, welcome to the DE Talk podcast.
Oh, Shannon, thank you for having me. Super thrilled to be here.
So Summer, before we get started, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about CollabWORK?
So I spent most of my career actually as an award-winning journalist. So my first job was with Katie Couric when she transitioned from, the Today Show and CBS Evening News and ABC to Yahoo News. And really my job was working alongside her and our team to create new content, reaching new audiences, introducing digital audiences to this iconic brand of Katie Couric, creating new revenue streams, products, not just putting television online, but how do we actually create a brand new viewing experience? After that, worked on air at Channel 11 in New York, WPIX TV, the CW affiliate, again, doing digital video storytelling for in New York and across 40 other local television stations. I worked at Amazon Studios doing product. I worked at News Corp doing partnerships. So I really did spend most of my career in media. But when I looked back at how I got every single job, it was actually never through applying on a job board or really through, a typical ATS experience cold. It was really through these communities I was a part of. Katie Couric wasn't necessarily advertising her next associate producer on LinkedIn, right. But I found that opportunity through a Google listserv for female journalists when I was at Northwestern University, where I studied undergrad at the Medill School of Journalism. Same thing with that Channel 11 job. It didn't come through a job board. It was through a Facebook group called the Media Mavens, which was filled with 20,000 women and non-binary identifying folks that work in production. Amazon Studios got that job through Columbia Business School's Slack community. So really saw my network was my net worth in opening doors and decided to kind of take the leap into talent acquisition, really inspired by my career journey. I saw that so many people were getting their jobs they've always gotten jobs through their network, but really this explosion of newsletters and Slack communities and Facebook groups and what we call this hidden job market was really how talent, especially since the pandemic, has really been networking and getting opportunities. And so kind of with my own personal experience and also just seeing how the talent landscape was shaping and changing, I launched CollabWORK. So we are a community-powered hiring platform that really connects employers to this hidden job market, to these walled gardens and these spaces where talent are networking and upskilling and really discovering opportunities from sources that they trust. So we partner with 500 plus communities and growing, again, ranging from newsletters like the Morning Brew to niche industry Slack communities to Discord servers to Facebook groups. Again, really where real conversations are happening with potential candidates. We really want to spotlight and bring employers' job content into the conversation and into those spaces.
As you entered into talent acquisition, into the space, what were some of the challenges you saw, as far as trying to get your foot in the door in the online recruitment space? I know the space is a very niche, small space. So as a newcomer, what were some of the challenges you found?
It was really interesting bringing, my knowledge of kind of media into the recruitment space in a new way. Mm-hmm. I candidly didn't understand or know what the term recruitment marketing was. Typically as a job seeker, I'd always experienced, okay, I apply to a job and then, or I'm, doing a cold outreach from a recruiter on, a social network that's saying, hey, you should apply for this role, that active sourcing. I candidly didn't even know this term recruitment marketing existed, but it makes sense now that we're all in the space and understand that really a lot of employers have a marketing problem. They need to get their jobs in front of the right candidates, and currently a lot of approaches are that classic spraying and praying approach, just seeing where we can reach people, not targeted, not backed by data, getting unqualified candidates. We're currently in a tale of two hiring markets where some companies and some industries are getting inbound out the door of too many candidates that are popping in their ATSs. And other industries are facing a labor shortage. They can't get enough qualified people to raise their hand or to get in the front door. But both of those problems really do have a quality issue where there's either too many people that are unqualified for the role or there's not enough qualified people that are getting in the door. And so really where we saw the white spaces, we know that every single industry has these groups and these networks and these communities where people are hanging out. Direct Employers Association is a great example. You've curated a great membership community of real leaders in the space that are looking for answers of their compliance issues or their recruitment marketing problems. They're looking for those safe spaces to have real, authentic conversations. Not what the market thinks are the problems, but what really are the day-to-day problems that are similar across organizations. We know that happens in all industry, whether that's Facebook groups for nurses, whether that's Discord servers for software engineers, whether that's the latest AI newsletter educating people on how to use AI in their workforce. There's all of these conversations that are super niche down that are happening. And so we really saw the opportunity of jobs tend to be shared in these networks. They tend to be part of the currency. It's almost like deal flow of, hey, I'm looking for a rock star marketing lead. Who do you know in your network? And so really we saw the opportunity of, as part of those authentic conversations where job opportunities are being shared, why don't we bring really targeted employers that have those real openings that are looking for that right candidate into the conversation?
And typically, I would think that these probably aren't groups that a lot of employers would have access to. So they just can't go there and post jobs on their own. So kind of working with CollabWORK is a way to kind of get access to these groups probably more quickly than they probably ever would have been able to.
Exactly. What I say is a lot of these groups might have hiring managers in them, right? Mm-hmm. They might have your head of product in a product community or your CMO in a marketing community, right? So people can kind of one-off share opportunities to their network. But for recruitment teams that have, a variety of different postings, thousands for some employers across functions and industries and geographies and locations, there's no way to actually be atop of what are the best networks that are happening right now. And a lot of these networks don't really like vendors in there. They want these communities to feel like safe spaces. So really our balance is we identify new communities to partner. A lot of times it is inbound interest that communities see our jobs in other communities and say, hey, I just saw your job postings in the Morning Brew. I run a community focused on healthcare. How can I get jobs that you have into my network? I know my members are looking to connect with real opportunities at great employers. And so we really kind of curate that trust, but also build these relationships with 500 plus communities and growing. So to your point, instead of your recruiter manually joining all these groups and posting jobs day in, day out, we're doing that work for you.
Or trying to go out and join all these groups, because my guess is it would probably be pretty tough to do that. So
exactly. And a lot of them, you either have to apply to join or pay to join or be referred to join. Mm-hmm. And so with those groups, it's really, they don't even advertise necessarily. They're really looking for quality over quantity. And so what's been exciting is both partnering with these more closed networks, as mentioned on Slack or Facebook groups or Discord, but also more open niche networks like newsletters, which we are continuing to see newsletters grow in prominence. It seems like everybody is starting a Substack. How do we actually make sure that employers are being spotlit and shining in those conversations as people are continuing to consume their news and their information in new ways like never before?
I know back when I was a recruiter, I was a big advocate of trying to go out and get our jobs in front of like to get your jobs, like in not newspaper, but magazines, where people would go and really focus more on their interest outside of work. Like just to give you an example, like I'm a car guy. So I thought people that were in the automotive industry could also be car guys. So they would maybe go and subscribe to different car magazines. So I would want, to get our jobs there. But this is really trying to get your jobs where, people are trying to get information for their careers and more an investment in the work that they're doing from 8 to 5.
Exactly, Shannon. And one thing, Katie Couric has taught me so many lessons over the years, but one of the things that I always go back to is people, every time I say I work for Katie Couric, everyone says, I feel like I know her because she was in your living room for so many years. And the Today Show is part of so many Americans' routines. The first thing they do in the morning is they turn on their TV and the Today Show's in their living room. I think a lot of these new channels have replaced that type of relationship where first thing people are doing when they start their day or on their commute home is checking their favorite newsletter, is signing into their favorite community, is listening to industry podcasts, right? Investing in their professional growth, to your point. And again, it's not just about what jobs are available, but how can I upskill? What is the latest technology in my space? What are the conferences and events I should be a part of? What is the conversation that is happening? And so really it's important as behaviors are changing for potential candidates to actually have that awareness and be part of that conversation on those channels, those more passive channels, but really those trusted channels that candidates are continuing to go time and time again and having that relationship. We always say at CollabWORK, we're the infrastructure layer of getting your employer jobs to these channels. They trust our partners. That's why they're going to click on the job. That's why they're going to engage with the job. That's why they're going to apply to the job. And ultimately, that's why they're better candidates for your roles. Because to your point, these people are taking time out of their free time outside of, their 9 to 5 to invest in themselves. And those are the best types of employees you want at your company. The people that are taking that initiative to read these publications, to immerse themselves in conversations, and really be focused on their own professional growth and development.
So if I were an employer and, I were to ask you, we already post our jobs on niche job boards. Kind of what's the difference between the niche job board that we're posting to and kind of the work that you're doing? How would you answer that?
We really do not consider ourselves a job board, right? We are really meeting candidates where they are in those native environments. So what we typically say our value proposition is, if you're only advertising on job boards, you are only getting active job seekers, people they know that they are actively looking for a job. They are going on a job board site. They are seeing what's in their area. And those are the only candidates that your spend and your marketing dollars are reaching. With us, you're getting both passive candidates, right? People that, again, aren't logging into job boards, but are reading their favorite community newsletters or part of their favorite communities. You're getting more targeted candidates. So again, your jobs are only being seen by qualified people. If you have a nurse job, we're not putting it in a software engineering community, right? We're putting it under other healthcare communities, or we're putting it in local newsletters, right? Where, again, a nurse might be looking at what's the latest, events that are happening. What are the events I can bring my kids to? What are the latest shops that are opening? Oh, and here are jobs in my community that I did not know existed, but I found that nurse in that moment of looking at their investing in their community, and they're seeing new opportunities where they can grow, again, from those trusted sources. And again, we also really have communities that are focused on, different demographics. We have communities focused on, women, focused on different ethnicities, workforce groups. And again, even while employers tend to pull back from that, we are also seeing employers that are really leaning in to diversity in the workforce. So really with us, what's the difference is you're getting passive job seekers, you're getting trusted and targeted job seekers that are, in those communities. And again, just candidates that you wouldn't be getting from that spraying and praying. We really say, unlike spraying and praying, we're posting with purpose. It's really intentional to make sure the right jobs are being seen by candidates, but also elevating your employer brand, that even if it's not that right moment for that job seeker, now they know about your company or they know about that opening because it came from that trusted source, that when they are on the market, when they go into Google or use their favorite AI technology to search, who's hiring in my area, your brand is standing out in their mind.
I have used your posting with purpose several times because I remember that from our first interaction. So in several of my meetings, I'm like, you need to post with purpose.
I should trademark that, Shannon.
You probably should. I know you mentioned AI just a little bit ago. Can you tell us if CollabWORK has an AI play or kind of is AI involved or a part of your offering?
Yes. So, and for our core product, really how we work with employers is we will take an employer's job postings, whether through their XML feed or through their ATS. We're very easy to integrate with, and we can be flexible based on different employers' needs. And once we analyze your open job requisites, we use AI to actually identify, okay, what are the best communities based on that function, based on industry, based on location, based on other details of the job description to make sure that we're matching it with communities that have already posted similar jobs with similar candidate profiles that your jobs are being picked up and seen there. So we're really using AI to match the job postings to almost that cluster analysis of the network. Again, reaching whether it's the Morning Brew or one of our partners, 6 a.m. City, which has 400 plus local newsletters in all 50 states, making sure your jobs are going based on local, industry, and function. What we're also really excited about is we are hearing so many employers talk about AEO and GEO and AI search. How can they make sure when candidates are logging on ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude or whatever, their LLM of choice is, that when they're asking who's hiring in my area or what are open, software engineers, nurse positions, accountants, lawyers, etc., that your employer brand and your jobs are coming up as a workplace of choice. And what we're really excited about doing that is these LLMs really trust these third-party networks to pick up qualified information. It's not just enough to have your jobs being picked up and digestible by these LLMs or your career pages to be picked up, but it's also about these authoritative sources like our media partners that really influence what content is being picked up. And so because we already have this great distribution network existing, we're also working on a product to actually help employers stand out in that experience as well. So really excited about launching that in the new year. And really, we do believe that AI enables us to scale and reach and target in ways we haven't. But we also want to make sure that we bring the human in human resources and make sure that we're kind of doing that distribution and targeting and getting qualified people into your front door so that your team can actually do what you do best, which is analyze, interview, evaluate, meet these candidates to make sure they're a right fit for your company.
Are you working with some of the applicant tracking systems that are out there currently, or?
Yeah, so we are able to integrate with 40 plus applicant tracking systems. Okay. So we can be native in their ecosystem, or as mentioned, we work with some employers that give us their XML feeds. We work with some employers that give us direct job links that they just say, here are the jobs I want. Please put them in your distribution network. One thing to clarify is, when we are sharing a job, let's say in a newsletter or a Slack community, we redirect the candidate to whatever environment the employer wants it to be. So whether that's their applicant tracking system, whether that's a chatbot, whatever experience you want the candidate to have, your CRM to get into the front door, we work with you. We want to make sure that our value is really kind of that from the hello to hire the hello. Let's bring the right people to that environment, into those workflows that make sense with your organization, make it super easy and seamless. You turn us on, you know that your jobs are going to the right places, and we partner with you in that way.
Nice. Moving forward, and I know you mentioned some of the plans for 2026 for some of the work that you're doing. What do you see off into the future? Like, where do you see CollabWORK in, let's say, 2029? What cool things may be working on at that point?
So one of the things that we are really excited about is, we've partnered with 500 plus communities and we've learned so much. I spent half of my time at HR conferences where you and I, Shannon, first met at HR Tech and RecFest, among others. And I spent half my time at, community conferences, whether it's the newsletter conference in New York City at the New York Times building or other meetups. And one of the things that's been super interesting for us to see is we really want to build the Substack meets recruiting. We really do want to help employers authentically create content and communities themselves to build in their network. So one of the things we're doing that we're really excited about is this summer we launched our first homegrown community. Typically, as mentioned, we partner with these already existing communities, but our first homegrown community was Nurse Ascent. It's grown to, since in the past 3 months, to 10,000 plus nurses in all 50 states. We're the only nursing newsletter currently on the market that's written by nurses for nurses. We've hired some freelance nurse content creators to help us write this, but we're actually using AI to write the newsletter, to pull the latest headlines that nurses care about, to pull the latest job posting that specifically match each individual nurse in our community, so that if you and I were two nurses, I'm in New York City, you're in Indianapolis, we're going to get different jobs. If we have different specialties, our newsletter is going to be tailored specifically for us. So we're excited to launch that to other verticals where we're seeing the biggest demand. But we're also using our newsletter creation technology to partner with employers that, hey, you have a CRM of, past applicants, silver medalists, other people that maybe didn't accept your offer that you want to keep warm. Let's help you create your own content and community that you can engage, and not just sending, a mass marketing email, but really tailor it individually. Highlight your company news, highlight your benefits, highlight your CEO speaking at an industry conference, and include your job postings, and really automate that process to have those warm connections using the technology and the lessons and learnings we've built. And I think that all plays into the larger ecosystem where you need to get out to third-party vetted, trusted communities. We want to make sure we're continuing to build communities that are meeting the most in-demand markets in our labor economy right now. We want to make sure we're giving you the tool set to build your own homegrown communities very seamlessly, that again allows you to focus on the critical work of maintaining relationships and engaging with your own employee base. And then also, all of that helps you stand out in AI search, right? Because you're owning your own content, you're distributing your jobs. It all plays into a larger strategy where you're both distributing, posting with purpose, you're owning your own communities, and you're appearing in places where you haven't been appeared before, as we envision. So we're really excited for all these opportunities and take all the learnings we've had to continue to ultimately build real value for our customers. And that's what's been so great about partnering with the Direct Employers Association. As you all have members that have different needs, different industries, but there is always a need to find the best talent. And in the age, where human capital, I believe, has never been more important, in the age of AI, where we have AI helping us in the workforce, but we really need the best players at each company to make sure we're executing on individual company goals and missions. Having that piece has never been more important, and we're excited to support employers throughout that process.
Well, you may not have come from the industry, but you're grabbing onto it quickly and bringing some really cool ideas to the table. So, and we've been super excited to work with you. We're seeing some great results. So I'm happy you have joined us. And just so you know, I actually have a journalism background too, but I was not award winning.
Well, I love doing podcasts like this. It lets me flex my old reporting muscles. So I always love to have these conversations. And I love storytelling. And I think that's something that employers are continuing to see the value of is, employer branding is not a new idea. But I think in an age where AI, making sure you have a really clear message and you're really authentic is standing out more than ever.
Yeah, I would agree. So before we wrap up, typically what we do is we do a speed round where I just ask you some questions randomly, not necessarily related to the topic that we were chatting about, but just some fun questions for people to get to know you a little better. So,
all right, let's go.
I'll ask a few, and then we'll get your contact information out to our listeners. So, favorite movie. So we'll start out easy.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think Forrest Gump or Shawshank Redemption.
Both good movies. If you weren't in journalism and you weren't the founder and CEO of CollabWORK, what other field would you be in?
That is a great question. I think I am a young mom. I have an 11-month-old.
Mm-hmm.
And I've really seen a huge opportunity in, continuing to empower women in the workforce and specifically mothers in the workforce. And so I think I have become kind of a go-to resource for friends as I'm balancing being a founder and being a leader of how to help more mothers re-enter the workforce. I know that's maybe a cop-out because it's kind of in workforce development, but I'm really passionate about that. And so I think I'd be devoting my time to really empowering more mothers to get back in the workforce, changing policies for mothers to have better integrations in the workforce and more flexible work, and continuing just to share my learnings. Again, I'm only in this for 11 months in the journey, so I'm very new to it, but I think it's an area that's going to continues, as we're facing rising childcare costs and so much is changing for family structures is a really exciting and critically needed area that needs more innovation and conversation.
Good answer. Favorite activity outside of work?
So I'm based in New York, as I mentioned. I love going to Broadway shows. My husband and I have a thing where we'll choose a random Tuesday and say, we're going to see a show today. And we'll have 5 shows that we're monitoring. And 30 minutes before, we'll be in Times Square and on StubHub and seeing what can we get the cheapest tickets for. And it's a thrill to see which ones we can score. I think my record is I saw a show called The Prom and I got third row orchestra for $6.
Oh my God.
I think they meant to probably say 60, but my attitude was, even if we can't get in the door, the subway is $2.90. So I'll take the risk to go down to Times Square and see, and we ended up seeing a show. So I like to be competitive in that regard and see the arts and take advantage of being in New York City.
Gosh, you've got me beat. I thought I actually saw Hamilton for $65, and I was super excited about that. But
okay, well, no offense to The Prom, but I think that might be a better deal for Hamilton. What a show!
It was weird sitting there. I was there by myself. I was there for work, and I was sitting in my room, and I'm like, let's see what I can get a ticket for Hamilton for, and $65. And I know everyone was looking at me like, who is this weird guy sitting here by himself? But it was fun.
That's the magic of theater, though. You're going to experience it with a room of strangers. You can go by yourself.
Yeah, I probably won't see any of those people ever again, so it was okay. Favorite fast food restaurant?
I think the McDonald's makes the best French fries, but I always like to go to In-N-Out when 100%. I can. My first conference since starting CollabWORK was HR Tech in 2023, where we won the Pitch Fest for the best use of AI. And that really brought us onto the scene. I was in 2024, I was I got to go to a bunch of conferences. I don't know that many people. And I feel so fortunate. I've had so many champions since then. But my first event after that was TA Week. And we did an In-N-Out pop-up. And I gave out $10 In-N-Out gift cards to anyone who wanted to treat on CollabWORK. And we went to an In-N-Out. And it was perfect. So fun. And I still have gift cards. So if anyone sees me at a Vegas or California show or wherever In-N-Out is, or even on the East Coast and they live there, I still have In-N-Out gift cards. So hit me up.
I wish I would have known that last time I saw you.
I know. Well, that next time I see you, Shannon. And it was funny. I was actually, after that, I was at Unleash, and some guy's like, "You're the In-N-Out girl." And I was like, yes. It's a great way to make connections. And, but yeah, so I feel like I have a soft spot for In-N-Out because of that.
In-N-Out, that's my place right there. I love that place. I probably shouldn't admit this, but I've probably been close to missing 3 flights because I was trying to get to In-N-Out before I flew back to Indy. So, well, Summer, thank you so much for joining us today. It was fun. If people want to reach out and learn more about CollabWORK, what is the easiest way for them to get a hold of you?
Yes. Well, Shannon, again, thank you for having me on the pod. Such a great conversation. And for anyone listening, would love to share more about how we can partner both through the Direct Employers Association and our partnership and otherwise. CollabWORK's website is www.collabwork.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, Summer Delaney. You can also find our nursing newsletter, Nurse Ascent, both on Kit and TikTok, and would love to connect with folks. And for any general inquiries, please email hello@collabwork.com and I'll make sure to respond to you. And feel free to please put the Direct Employers Association in the subject line when you reach out. We have a special gift we want to give Direct Employer Association members.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, we were so happy to have you. It was a great conversation. I promise I won't call you In-N-Out Girl next time I see you, but thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Shannon, for having me.
Thank you for tuning in for another episode of the DE Talk podcast. Stay connected with direct employers on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, or subscribe to receive updates straight to your inbox by visiting directemployers.org/subscribe, where you'll receive notifications of new episodes, webinars, events, and more.